Let's try again. No, I didn't put any filters on my microphone. I didn't do none of that shit. But the point I was getting at before I fucking decided to redo this whole damn video is simple. Modern media is dead or is dying with good reason. We was talking about, Dragon Ball. We was talking about Sonic. Talking about X-Men. Talking about all different types of shit. Music ain't the same. Fucking movies ain't the same. And then whenever somebody comes out and discuss how things used to be, the good old days, because we're all just a bunch of fucking old boomers now, apparently. The first thing y'all do is call us all types of shit. And it's ironically always somebody that likes what's new, despite what's new being dog shit. Yeah, I said it. Your favorite shit is bullshit. I don't give a fuck if you get mad. I don't care. Let's start with X-Men. Let's start with X-Men before I go down, why the hell am I offline? I literally revamped my entire adapter and it shit still keeps doing that. Luckily, I don't have a video or any music going on in the background. But starting with X-Men. So we were discussing the comic book. These idiots talking mad shit, like calling us bigots and everything because we do not like the wokeification of X-Men, or what it is became recently. And of course, they're going to pull the "it's been woke" card. It was an allegory of the civil rights movement. Okay, so the mutants being an allegory for civil rights movement, or the civil rights movement, it had nothing to do with their sexuality. Period. That wasn't even a discussion. If anything, the main overall arcing story was about the mutants themselves and can they coexist with human beings. Magneto said, fuck all that shit. The mutants are the next evolution of humanity. While Charles Xavier was saying that it'd be better if we all coexist, which later on he began to kind of second guess himself in the older books. All right, if they're still doing that narrative, cool. Who slept with who wasn't a fucking issue. Who was fucking who didn't fucking matter, right? But now, they're turning. First of all, they're fetishizing this shit beyond what it already was. Like, yes, Rogue had an ass back in the day, but now we're making it a big deal. I remember the first character they turned gay that was never gay, but became gay because some new writer stepped in, some liberal writer, and they wanted to make it a big thing, right? They took Wolverine, gave him new adamantium. Fucking, he had gold claws now. He was completely immune to any telepathy or any attack from a telepath. He was dating Hercules, and the adamantium that was on his body was called adamantine. It had, properties of the gods, or it came from the gods, right? And the main point of of that was just to show that being gay is powerful, according to them. I don't believe that shit, but that's what they wanted to push. Then they turned Iceman gay for no fucking reason. He was dating Kitty Pryde, and already in a relationship, but then he had a fucking side dude. Like that when the fuck did that become the main focus of X-Men? And then when we complain about that, because they're clearly taking legacy characters and changing them to push an agenda, because we are mad about that, you got these drones coming in to gaslight us for not enjoying what it is that they're doing to our characters. Or not our characters, but the characters that we grew up with. There was a certain way that they were, and we fell in love with these characters because they were the way that they were. And now you're fucking changing the shit. Okay? For what, though? You didn't improve the story. In fact, in a lot of cases, they made the story worse. These writers don't know what the fuck they're doing, and there's a damn reason why there's a decline in comic book sales. Just in general. Yes, modern media is dying and y'all are killing it. Period. Then, because I stopped reading the X-Men comics. Hell, I stopped reading a lot of the Marvel comics. I'm tired. You playing Spider-Man and you're helping two dudes go on fucking prom together, and they force you to watch them. Like, they force you to watch this shit, mind you. You don't swing off to go save another, citizen. None of that shit. You would think that the mission would be about beating a bag. You don't even know what the fuck you're getting into until you're already knee deep. Right? That whole spill between Spider-Man and fucking Mary Jane, where she's essentially despising Peter for just being Spider-Man. You're never around. You only care about what you want. And it's like, no, he has a responsibility. He can't just sit at home and be under his bitch all day. He got shit to do. Because if he doesn't go out and save them, who the fuck will? That whole exchange kind of pissed me off in the game. Like fuck what they're doing with this shit, bro. And then it goes even on a deeper level, right? Where every strong female character is beautiful and lesbian, and every woman character that is in a heterosexual relationship, they gotta like morph her into looking more mannish. It's something I kind of been noticing lately, like in the games. Cause I kind of like, I drew back. I was like, I'm not finna say nothing about it. I wasn't gonna comment on the shit. But I find out that I'm not the only one who fucking noticed it. Like, what the fuck is going on? Women can't be beautiful anymore. They don't like, they say it's the male fantasy. They say is, you're sexualizing. Why? Because she has natural curves. Like, Mary Jane Watson was a supermodel. You get what I'm saying? Black Cat herself uses her sexuality to get over on men. Like, femininity, that's a woman's superpower. But instead of that shit, they want these chicks to essentially play the role of a man. And then that be the premise of that character. Because God forbid she likes dick, because when women have sex, that's a submissive role. She is the one receiving. Can't have that, so they got to make her a lesbian. It ain't just Black Cat. Everyone's arguing Black Cat was bisexual. I'm not finna go into the comic book history of that shit. Bottom line is, it ain't just Black Cat either. Mind you. The Marvels came out. We didn't like the Marvels. And they was complaining, you just don't like female characters in lead roles. No, I don't have a fucking problem with that shit. Your shit is just trash. And then you pump all this bullshit in there that doesn't mean anything about anything. But all of the undertones are very evident. And it's influencing children. You can see a correlation between that shit. But I'm not finna go into that. We're just talking about the media itself. And just everything about it. They care more about representation, skin color, race, sexual orientation than just writing a good story. And that's the problem people are having. But if we say this shit, the first thing they do is call us bigots. Oh, you just hate gays. You just hate this group of people and that group of people. You're just mad that, this person is black now. It's like, who? It ain't even that. You're ruining the source material. Your story is dog shit. Like it's a bunch of, and then we clearly know it's a fucking agenda on top of that. Like, what more do we need to do? Meanwhile, you look at other countries and they ain't having none of this shit. Like, look at Spider-Man out overseas. Every rainbow flag and every mention of LGBTQ gets removed. So it's very clear that it's not about representation as far as what these companies are doing. They're using your movement to make fucking money. And that's it. But they want to shove it down our throats. I'm telling you, is getting fucking crazy. So then you back away from all that shit, right? No more X-Men, no more Marvel, no more Disney shit. I'm done. I'm not getting into none of that. Let me move back to the anime. Let's get back into anime. And now we're fucking arguing about Dragon Ball. Like, literally. Not even like I'm telling you, 5 minutes after I saw the whole X-Men shit, we were arguing about Dragon Ball. You know what I'm saying? And I was just talking about just the blatant trash writing that Dragon Ball Super is. One person pointed out that a fan project called Dragon Ball Epsilon was better made as far as story goes and was a better continuation than Dragon Ball Super. And everybody was pissed of what that dude said. They were mad as fuck. But let's be real here. Just this picture alone that you're seeing on screen should just tell you everything. It should tell you everything. The transformations are lackluster. Alright, and I swear there's a new form of fucking MUI every time I turn around. People, like, I hate the fact that Whis and Beerus exists. I'm tired of this shit. Now we got Super Dragon Balls, which fine, cool. Super Dragon Balls, multiple universes. It's been done already. How Dragon Ball's doing it is shit. But the idea or the concept of multiple timelines, multiple universes, that's been done before. What I don't like is the unnecessary retcons, the fact that this shit seems to be going nowhere. It contradicts the original source material. In OGZ, the OG manga, what happened between the Buu Saga and the end of Z was nothing but 10 years of peace. So for them to try to take Dragon Ball Super and cram it in between the 10 years of peace, now we need to explain the weird ass power creep that Goku got and how the fuck Oob is able to even keep up with him. We gotta explain that shit. Pan and Bola being born, you know, shit's out of order. Okay, it's out of whack. Then you have to explain, you know, Beerus and Whis and their involvement in the endeavors of the mortals and why nothing was going. Like it's like, what the fuck, bro? And then you watch the series. The art style is, I hate the new art style. Okay, that is a pet peeve of mine, a personal nitpick. But then you see the animation choreography of the fights. The fight choreography is shit. Then they're like, what, the very series that set the precedence for all other anime to copy, or at least a lot of other shonen anime to copy, they're now copying other shonen anime. And then people want to act blind, like, what, you don't like Super, you must be a hater. No, I watched the same series you watched, and you obviously didn't catch none of the shit because you was too busy fanboying over bullshit, right? I actually like to sit down and think about things. For example, and I've spoken about this before, fucking Vegito. He should have ended that fight. Trunks, never seen a spirit bomb. Excuse me. Trunks never seen a spirit bomb. I'm talking about future Trunks. So how the fuck is it that he was able to create a spirit bomb and then take the energy of that spirit bomb from a already decimated Earth where there was barely enough humans there to begin with? Just for him to absorb that weak ass energy, put it into his spirit sword. Funny. But yeah, put it into his spirit sword, and then he was able to impale Zamas. And that supposedly ended the fight until, in the anime at least, Zamas became this entity that was unstoppable to the point where only Zeno could destroy him. You fucking lost the fight at that point. Meanwhile, Vegito, who could have ended it, defused, which is a new thing. Vegito never fucking defused in the past. They gave Gogeta, like, I don't want to say mechanics, but the thing that would have been a problem if they went Gogeta, hence why the Metamorph fusion was supposed to be weaker. It wasn't a perfect fusion like with the Potara. Like the Potara earrings was supposed to be a perfect fusion of the fighters, and it didn't have the drawbacks that the Metamorph fusion had. But they retconned it to make it to where the Metamorph fusion drawbacks are now placed on the Potara earrings. Just little shit like that sprinkled around the entire series is why fans of Z, GT, and Dragon Ball, respectively, or just all three altogether, don't like Super. A lot of the people I see who like Super are folk who haven't watched Dragon Ball in years and then came back to the series and they're just happy Dragon Ball's back. Meanwhile, the people who've been watching it and been consuming the media, like, I don't want to say religiously, but consistently, they're looking at this shit and they're like, what the fuck happened? Now they're talking about reintroducing Tails to the Saiyans, and fanboys are just like, yes, yeah, we got a new thing. It's like, that's not new. That's GT. Dragon Ball Daima with Kid Goku and shit. That Goku's like, are you serious? A magical wish that turned Goku back into a kid. Does that not sound familiar to you? They're taking GT shit and reintroducing it to you, and you're eating that shit up. Like, the lack of love and the lack of giving a fuck in a lot of these shows is ridiculous. Either you come to America and there's a bunch of fucking woke ass shit, right? And them not giving a fuck about the stories. They're just trying to push agendas and people defending that. Or you go into the anime market with legacy shows. Not all of them, because there's some good shit out there when it comes to the, manga and anime. But the ones that have a legacy to them, I don't want to say that, because Dragon Ball is not the only anime with a legacy. But you look at this and you're like, it's not. There was still a story to it. It wasn't all just the fights. No one cares about that. No one does. I've had several videos on Dragon Ball, like trying to make Dragon Ball minus into a canonical thing, even though it completely contradicts the reason why Raditz was on Earth in the first place. But hey, when I say it's not canon, it doesn't make sense, because you're trying to place it into the Z canon doesn't make sense, whether it's the manga or the fucking anime. Niggas want to get mad and be like, no, it is canon because Toriyama said so. No one gives a fuck. Have you ever heard the term death of the author? If shit don't make sense, why the fuck then should I accept it as canon? If all introducing Super does is bring a giant ass plot hole. Excuse me, I said plot hole. Plot hole into the series. Why the fuck would I accept that as canonical to what was originally stated and originally here. We had the same issue with fucking Legend of Korra and Avatar. They're trying to make an Avatar universe out of that shit when it didn't need that. I already made a video about how hip hop music is bullshit, but people consume that media instead of actually like digesting what's being said. I realize now when it comes to that, just like, you know, with anything else, people just turn their fucking brains off. And that's why we have this problem now. I get it. You want to escape life. You want to escape that bullshit job you have. You're tired of the reality of the world. But that doesn't mean that you need to turn your fucking brain off when enjoying media. Once you do that, these writers and these artists don't have to try anymore. They're selling you bullshit. You're making them famous. You're giving them money. You're making them rich. Naruto died and fell off when Shippuden came out. Like, I don't even need to fucking dig deep into that shit. They retconned a lot of shit in that. It lost its way. What was originally about an underdog who was, you know, fighting essentially the world and the way it ran to try to establish himself and gain the respect that he so desperately desired, turned into him being a child of prophecy and everything being as it should be. He's the reincarnation of Ashura. It's like, so Neji was right. Why the fuck was that a fight then? What was the point of the fight? Meanwhile, characters like Rock Lee get sidelined. It is what it is, right? Then good media gets, you know, talk. It's weird. The trash media gets promoted while media that's actually good, people like try to downplay and talk shit about it simply because they either A, don't fucking understand it, or they heard somebody else come out with a dumbass opinion and they just took that shit and regurgitated it all over the fucking internet. I seen this shit with Bleach. They did this shit to Bleach. Now they're doing it to fucking Conscious Rap and Backpackers. It's getting on my fucking nerves. Just straight up. Now on to fucking Sonic. Because I had a nice ass conversation with that person. I never went back. I deleted. I said, fuck this shit, man. I'm not dealing with it. On Facebook, of course. But I know you're thinking, why the fuck are you on Facebook even arguing about this shit, bro? It's not even that. You just find yourself into it. They ask your opinion. You give your opinion. And then these motherfuckers come out the fucking bushes just to try to criticize you on your opinion. Like, my opinion's the one that's dog shit. I said Generations was mediocre. Sonic Generations. Ever since Unleashed, it's like they just stopped giving a fuck. They re-released to you old levels from old games in a nice compilation. Came up with a bullshit ass story that they didn't even flesh out, nor did they even care about. Like, after the second cutscene with Tails, you don't get any fucking, you know, just nothing. No detail on what's really going on, how you got there, all that shit. It's very bare bones. It's like Mario, where they give you what happened, that's the premise, and then it's just gameplay. And the gameplay is watered down boost gameplay. Yes, I said it. The fact that they have marked walls, you like, okay, for example, in Sonic Unleashed, you could light speed dash any path of rings you come across, just like the adventure games. In Sonic Generations, you can't do that. Only the specific scripted ring paths that they provide for you are you allowed to light speed dash. So instead of doing this across an entire line of rings, you only have specific line of rings. It's like, why would you restrict that? Wall jumping. You can only wall jump off certain wall types. And by wall types, I'm not saying flat surfaces. I mean only what's being marked. So the wall doesn't have a black and red texture on it. You cannot jump off of it. Even though in Unleashed, it didn't matter what the fuck wall you were jumping off of. You could jump off any wall as long as it was a flat surface. Then you have Sonic Colors where, you know, staple Sonic techniques were turned into Wisp power-ups. They're literally watering down the mechanics. Then they created a whole new engine and don't even fucking flesh the shit out. The Hedgehog engine too. They remove core abilities like drifting. So something that made you that gave you the ability to control Sonic when turning, they just outright removed. And then on top of that, they made the levels even more linear. Like Forces had a lot of fucking issues. But then you take Forces, that engine, that, you know, all of the crap that was in there, and then they took that same shit and came out with Sonic Frontiers. Same model, same jump ball animation, same glitches. Now we have pop-in and all kinds of other shit. Momentum, they remove momentum altogether now. Like, I can't even gain speed rolling down a damn hill. Even though that was a staple in Sonic since 1991. Are you getting it now? Is anyone getting this shit? Yes, I'm rambling, but this is a fucking rant. Modern media is going downhill, and you are all supporting it. You're still buying this shit, and you're still giving it high ranks and high praise. At least that's what the critics are giving it. Oh, Sonic's open world now. We never had this before. Well, anybody who's in the modding community, yes, I've played Sonic in open world. Better Sonic in open world. Sonic with momentum. The fighting mechanics was shit too. The Werehog was more fleshed out. I'm dead ass. I say that shit with my chest. I would take that. Like, fuck what y'all talking about. The fact that I could just hold the parry button forever in Sonic Frontiers. Like, are we serious now? And then, like, simple things like, you know, when's the last time they updated the Sonic model? And when I say updated, I mean, like, actually tried to make Sonic look more realistic. When's the last time they did that shit? Like, even the animation on the quills is bare bones compared to older games. And you're telling me that this is supposed to be, this is the step up. This is the next big thing since Unleashed. And then when I show up and say no, it's mediocre, you all get mad and fucking attack me. And then throw out ad hominem attacks on top of that shit. They ain't got nothing to do with what we're fucking talking about. You just gotta talk about me and my character. So I'm a bigot for not liking the American media that's coming out because it's all agenda based and they don't give a fuck about writing a decent ass story. And then I'm a snob because I call out how a lot of the modern day games and the fucking some of the Japanese media that's coming out is bare bones compared to what used to be. Am I missing something? And it's like, well, it's a you problem. No, it's not a me problem. There are plenty of other people saying this shit. And I'll be shocked. Well, I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised at all that it's the minority. The minority are the ones that pay attention. Just saying. I've been hearing complaints about Mario too, but I'm not deep enough into Mario to really like give a shit. But I tell you what though, it's hard to enjoy shit now. I could go back. I got emulators. I got old consoles, old systems, old fighting games. because they're watering down fighting games too, and they're making it more user friendly, more accessible to the casual audience, the same audience that's going to dump your game in the next month because they really don't give a fuck. Like, let's just be honest, fighting games is niche because of the way it's designed. The point of fighting games is competition. You versus somebody else who has the better dexterity and mental skill to overcome the other person. That by itself breeds competition. The casual audience does not like competition. Why do you think Smash Brothers is dead? Since Melee, it went downhill. And the creator killed that one. Like, Sakurai killed his own series. I'm just gonna be blunt. Y'all saying this the best Smash Ultimate, Smash 4. Like the same shit they said about Ultimate, they said about 4, and then they said about Brawl. This is better than Melee. It's the next big thing. It's the next step up. And then as soon as the new game came out, y'all were fucking done. And y'all moved on to the new game. And then the newer game came out. You were done with that shit. Moved on to the newer game. And meanwhile, I'm still satisfied playing Melee. Obviously, that's telling by itself. And that's just Melee. People are still playing Third Strike. People are still playing Street Fighter 4. That's the mark of good media. When people keep going back to the shit. I could go back to Dragon Ball Z, watch that front to back over and over again, and still be just as entertained as I was as a child. I could go back, play Sonic Heroes, Sonic Adventures, Sonic 1, Unleashed, and still enjoy the shit like I did when I first played it. But then we get into the new stuff. There's microtransactions, fucking whack-ass DLC, pandering to casuals, all this new shit. And it's just like, man, what the fuck is this? And then the game itself is trash. Like, and I mean from a mechanical standpoint. The camera shouldn't still be getting stuck in 2023. We shouldn't still be having, fucking terrain issues and pop-in 2023. Shouldn't be having that shit. Something's wrong with your programming. Something's wrong with your coding. Something. You fucked up somewhere. I don't know if you're using C++. I don't know if you're using Rust or whatever fucking program you're using. You fucked up somewhere. Just blatant. I'm just gonna be blunt about that shit. And then speaking of video game media, you have companies now coming out talking about you will no longer own game disc. It's all just going to be digital media. So I'm paying for a subscription essentially. I can't even enjoy. So if there's a fucking power outage or some shit, not power outage. If the internet goes down, because if there's a power outage, you're not playing on games anyway. But if the internet goes down, I don't own the fucking game. I can't even boot this shit up. And I was experiencing this shit with Warframe. Online only game. Alright, I want to play the game or at least a single player campaign. Can't even fucking do that shit. We need internet to connect to it. That's happening right now. And I seen niggas defending that shit. Or it makes it more convenient. Nigga, you're losing your fucking power as a fucking customer. That's essentially what's happening. But hey, they did the same shit during the fucking COVID era. You relinquish freedom and creativity to satisfy whatever your personal desires, wants, and needs are at the time. And then before you know it, shit is homogenized and you're just wondering what the fuck happened. You have no power. You don't own shit. It is what it is, man. It's a long time coming for even talking about this shit. Anybody else with some fucking sense that wants to, speak on this, go ahead and speak on it. I want to hear what you got to say. All right. But if you're showing up with ad hominem attacks and you're trying to talk shit about me, oh, you're wrong because X, Y, and Z, and you're just talking nothing but bullshit, your shit is going to get deleted. I'm just going to be blunt. I'm done talking, man. Fuck new media. It's not me being an old head. There genuinely is a problem. Genuinely. And if you don't see that shit, you're either too young to know or you're fucking blind. Peace.